Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare
शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, गौर सिंहानंद। Is Zoom on?
It's coming on the screen.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदामयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। It's coming on screen.
They can't see it seems to.
Yeah.
I just messaged Mataji. Okay, 1 minute. I don't know what's the issue here is.
I didn't share actually.
Share the second screen.
That's not the first one. It's extended for me somehow.
Oh.
This screen is like extended.
Display settings.
Yeah. I can just read from here, but it's just going to give me some neck pain in the night.
Display settings.
You know what to do, you're trying.
Down option.
Sudhir, we can see.
Just a minute. Instead of extend, duplicate it. Yeah, so now this is the one, right?
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. That's good. All right. So today we will discuss the fourth chapter. We discussed the first chapter last week. The second chapter contains how Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. There, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami explains Etitam Sakala Pumsam Krishnas to Bhagwan Swayam, elaborate expansion of that, and how the interaction between Krishna and Brahma, where Brahma says, "You are the original Supreme Personality of God," and Krishna tells Brahma, um, "I am only a cowherd boy. You are son of Narayan." And Brahma says, "No, now I have come to the understanding. You are the source of Narayan." So different understanding, proving that how Krishna is source of Narayan. So something that we have already discussed and we have already accepted. That's why we are not going in detail. Third chapter, these are short chapters. Third chapter describes the external reason reasons for appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what are the external reasons for his appearance? There are three. Yeah, give love of God. That's in general an external reason for all incarnations. And that's the reason for Mahaprabhu also, but he does that through Nam Sankirtan. Through Nam Sankirtan. He doesn't annihilate the demons, but he gives the demons love of God. So a little bit different from the definition of annihilation. To himself. Well, that's an internal reason. Yes, Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya calling, Nam Sankirtan, Advaitacharya, and he gave to give um, um, Raga Bhakti. Raga Bhakti. We discussed Unvatojalam Rasam. He came to give the Raga Bhakti, which no other incarnation. Remember? May I always remember the beautiful golden form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the core of my heart, who has come Anarpitam Charin Chidat Karunavtara Kalo, and then Unnato Jalam Rasam Bhakti Shriyam, who has come to give the spontaneous love to everyone. And we have discussed this before, where Krishna is thinking that I have performed my pastimes, but I have not given the way to come to me. And the path of Vaidhi Bhakti does not attract me. Remember, long time back in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appearance, they will discussed. Okay. So that's also from third chapter, external reason for appearance of Mahaprabhu. So that's why, since we are all well aware and we have discussed, in these discussions, I'll try to discuss things that we have not discussed so that it's not repetitive. You have a question?
One thing, Krishna himself felt that he wanted to know how Radharani could love him that much, so he wants to appear in the form of Radharani.
Yeah, that's today's discussion.
That's
That's the internal reason. Yeah. So those were the three external reasons. Now today's topic of discussion is three internal reasons. Although we know the reasons, we have not discussed them in detail. And many things that we will see will be, this is one of my favorite topic of discussion personally also. So we will see that. Now on Zoom, is my voice clear, or should I keep the laptop in front of me?
It's clear, Prabhuji.
It's clear.
Thank you, Nilima Mataji. Okay. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Now this is a long chapter, so I will read and go fast, hoping that any question you ask immediately. Okay. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Sri Nityananda. All glories to Advaita Acharya and all glories to devotees of Sri Gauranga. That's how every chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita begins. External reasons. Bhagavad Gita explains that Krishna comes to take away earth burden, but that's the role of Lord Vishnu. And now some of the verses I have summarized so that there are like 270 verses in this chapter, and we are going to cover them today. But we are not going to cover 270. If the gist of 7-8 verses can be summarized in 2 lines and something that we are aware of, so I just wrote in 2 lines, something like that. But the time to lift, so to annihilate and to relieve the earth burden, Krishna does not have to come personally. But the time to lift burden of word mixed with the time for Lord Krishna's incarnation. It appears to be the same time. All incarnations are within Krishna's body. So Narayan, Matsya, they all come with Krishna. That's why Krishna could show the Narayan feature. He showed Narayan feature many times. Anyone remembers where he showed Narayan form? Huh? Gopis. Then Brahma. Then he showed Narayan form. Devaki. Narayan.
Is Narayan's 400 forms?
Yeah. He showed to Devaki.
One to Arjuna, he showed.
Arjun he showed.
And
Then
he showed to
Pandavas.
Yudhishthira or someone who lays on the
Bhishma Devi.
Bhishma.
Bhishma Devi he showed. Then he showed to Pandavas when? Ashwadhama passed away, he showed. So Krishna can show that. But any other incarnation cannot show Krishna form. Any other incarnation cannot show any other form. Narasimhadev, just Narasimhadev. But Krishna can show any form. Now, these Krishna Leela is very deep. And Krishna Leela, if we go to Krishna Leela, we will discuss. Recently, these days actually I am reading Krishna Leela. And I have so far finished 6 books. Each book is 700 pages long in past 6 months. And my next year reading is booked. That's why I want to reduce my engagements so that I can read more. And our nourishment. Today I was talking to one devotee, Grand Rapids. He said, Prabhuji, I want to chant 64 rounds every day in the month of Kartik. I asked him, how many rounds you are doing now every day? He said, I'm doing 40. And then I said, Prabhu, I think 64 is too much for you. you be there and you stabilize yourself. And then he said, Prabhu, more than chanting, this is why I shared, more than chanting, my nourishment is coming from 1 hour reading every day. He said, when I read 1 hour every day, I'm feeling so much nourished. Before, he never used to read. Never used to read. For 3 years, I pushed him. Prabhu, Bhagavad Gita padha. Prabhu, reading हमारे लिए नहीं है. Okay, sorry, Bhagavad Gita padha. In past 6 months, he finished 3 cantos. Because consistent 1 hour reading, just 1 hour, but consistent and every single day. And now he is kind of starting to develop taste in reading. So I always emphasize on reading because your progress is only through reading. At certain point of time, you cannot hear anything beyond that. All your nourishment will come from reading. And our goal is we want to nourish ourselves and develop our love of Godhead. Rest all is seva. We don't care. Today we die, tomorrow we die, we don't know. What will go back to us is how much love of Godhead we have developed in our heart. कितना भक्ति अंदर है वही हमारे साथ जाएगा. बाकी सब external. So we should not get deluded by externals. I mean, if you see Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Acharyas, what would they do? Whole day they would Nana Shastra Vichari Naika Nipuno Sadharma Samsthapako Nana Shastra Vichari Naika Nipuno. They would contemplate on Nana Shastra Vichari. They would contemplate, read all the scriptures of the Goswamis. That's their life. Nana Shastra Vichar. Not just chalo, accomplished, goal accomplished. No, they are trying to understand and go deep into it. Vicharine ko nipuna. And then through that reading of scriptures with vichar, your dharma samsthapako. You will naturally establish dharma in the world by yourself reading scriptures. So that is so important to read scriptures. So all incarnations are within Krishna's body, and Lord Vishnu within Krishna kills the demons. Clear? Krishna does not kill demons. Are there demons in spiritual world? Not there? 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 Not there. How?
Whatever the demons they are killed, liberated again and back, right?
So does Krishna kills Kamsa in spiritual world, and does Krishna kills Putra in spiritual world?
They are again
Back to the
parts and parcels of course. They
So does Krishna kills them?
No, because they are devotees.
In Brihad Bhagavatam, there is a description of Golok Vrindavan. Sanat Kumar, you know the story of Sanat Kumar, not Sanat Kumar, Gup Kumar. Gup Kumar, you know, he went to Goloka. So when he went to Goloka, he was stunned. He saw, Are, there is day, there is night. Everything that I was seeing in Vrindavan, I am seeing here. What is the difference? And he realized there is no difference. Everything that you see here in Vrindavan, you see that in Golok Vrindavan. Even Krishna showed to Vrajvasis, Golok Vrindavan, and they saw, जो हम यहाँ कर रहे हैं वही नीचे भी हो रहा है. There is no difference. And there is a detailed description there. Okay.
No, that is unanswered. That's why demons are there in the world.
Well, Sanatan Goswami explains there are demons there also, but Prabhupada says there are no demons in spiritual world. And I was reading a book on Krishna Leela, and there Maharaj was mentioning that the demons are there and not there. How? They are not there because there are no demons there, but they are there for variety, for Krishna's pleasure. But they are pure devotees of Krishna. They are not covered. They are manifestations of Yoga Maya potency. Yoga Maya creates just for Krishna's pastimes. So they are not there, yet for variety they are there, for the pleasure of Krishna, and the Gopas and the Gopis just for that purpose. So they are there and not there. Achinta Veda Veda. So when we read the books of Goswamis, you will see sometimes striking contradiction. And I was seeing. And then once we read under guidance through some bona fide spiritual master, then we can see there is no contradiction. Actually. Okay. Prema rasa niryasa karite ashwadana raga marga bhakti loke karite prachana. The Lord's desire to appear was born of two reasons. The Lord wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate the devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. So one is Prema Rasa, one is Raga Marg. Clear? To give. And we have discussed about Raga Marg. Reverence doesn't conquest me. Aishwarya gyayete sabha jagatamishhrita Aishwarya sithila preme nahi mora prita. Lord Krishna thought, all the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. Amare Ishwara mane apana ke hina tara preme vasa ame nahai adhina. If one regards me as a supreme Lord and himself as subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. Is it clear? Any example can you remember? Where Krishna is not attracted by awe and reverence, but he is attracted by spontaneous love. Huh? Vidura and? Okay. Yes. There is something, I mean, you are right. You're right. There is something very striking example in Govardhan Leela.
Rukmini, so we got the letter from Ramana.
And then?
Then immediately he goes to get married.
Then?
Then he gets married.
You're faster. Okay. Do you remember when Krishna lifted down the Govardhan, Indra came to surrender. Indra came with Brahma, Indra, and they do Arati. You know that. They did arati to Krishna. And then cowherd boys are walking by and they saw. And they're like, oh, people with four hands, people with eyes all over. And then they came and immediately demigods disappeared. And then they came and they started jokingly offering the same heavenly paraphernalias. They took the arati and um, like this, and then they are giving, and they are just making joke and fun. They're not doing any arati. But that was way more pleasing to Krishna than demigods with so much mantras and tantras and mudras and pudras and doing namostute. Krishna doesn't like that. What Krishna likes is spontaneous attraction. Krishna likes to become the servant of his devotees. That's what that love controls Krishna. But at the same time, Srila Prabhupada said in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, we should worship Krishna as Lakshmi Narayan because we are the path of Vedi Marg. And even when we come to Raga Marg, still, as long as we are in the Sadhaka Deha, internally we may cultivate the mood of without any rules and regulations, but externally we act always, even when we become fully imbued in a particular rasa with Krishna, we continue as a sadhaka. Siddha sadhana and sadhaka sadhana. Okay. अमाकेता ये भक्त भज ए भावे तारे से भावे bhaji e mora swabhave. In whatever transcendental mellow my devotee worships me, I reciprocate with him. That is my natural behavior. So however, whatever mood a devotee wants to serve Krishna, whether it is Santa, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. However, a devotee wants to serve Krishna, Krishna accepts him in that particular way. Mora putra mora, mora putra mora sakha, mora pranapati, e bhave ye more kare shuddha bhakti. If one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend or his beloved, and renders shuddha bhakti in this way, regards me as great and me as an equal or inferior, I become subordinate to such love. अपना के बड़ा माने, he thinks himself greater than me. अपना के बड़ा माने, हमारे समाहीना, and he thinks me as either sama or hina, either same as lower. Then I become purchased by that love. Clear? Clear? And here we see Krishna is very happy uh, serving the lotus feet of Balaram, and others are playing, and this Krishna finds so much at home. But when somebody does arati to Krishna, Krishna becomes little bit shy and uncomfortable, and he's like, all right, do whatever you like to do with me. So that's the mood of Krishna. And that's what Mahaprabhu came to give us. That mood of Vraja. Gopas, what they were doing? They were playing with Krishna. So they need some play every day. So they saw some heavenly paraphernalia. So they started using this as a play. Understood? No. No. Demigods were doing arati. When Gopas saw that, they left. So Gopas came, and there is huge paraphernalia. So they also started doing arati without igniting any lamp. Just they were playing. And Krishna was very happy with that um, spontaneous love of sakhas, where they consider Krishna as their subordinate. Krishna, rain came, huge, intense, and Krishna told the Gopas, "What should we do?" And they said, "Why did you stop the worship of Indra? Now we are doomed. They are under a tree, and huge torrents of rains are flowing." Um, and then Krishna said, "Well, we worship Govardhan, so Govardhan will help us." And then the cowherd boy said, "But how? What should we do now?" And Krishna gave them an idea. And Krishna said, "Should I lift Govardhan?" And Sridhama said, "Pagal ho gaye ho, lifting Govardhan." वो उठेगा नहीं प्रभु, और उठेगा अगर गलती से गिर गया तो क्या होगा हमारा, कुछ ऊपर बन जाएगा. So no, it's not a good idea. And Krishna said, no, I can lift. And Madhumangal said, actually, I will give him Shakti. I am a Brahmana, pure Brahmana. So I'll give him Shakti. Whatever he is able to do is because of my Shakti. Because I am a Brahmana. Because he's son of um, he's son of Sandipani Muni. Sandipani Muni was a spiritual master, of Krishna. So, and Purnamasi is the mother of Sandipani Muni. So, they both came to Vraja from Ujjain just before Balram's appearance. So, Madhumangal is known for his uh, Brahminical power, although doesn't do anything, but this is a Sakya Ras. So then there is an intense conversation under that tree. What should we do? And Krishna said, no, I can live Govardhan, trust me. Because there it is mentioned, our acharyas explained that if Krishna lifted Govardhan without convincing the friends, then they would be shocked. And they may faint also by seeing that. So he has to set the platform before he lifts Govardhan. So Sridama asked Krishna that, can you take the tree and then make a knot like this, the trunk of a tree, and make a knot like this. Then we will understand that you can lift Govardhan. And then Krishna did that. So that tree is still there. I don't remember the name of the place where the tree is like this. It's like a gaunt knot. And then they said, all right. So that's how he convinces the Gopas. ब्रजेरा निर्मल राग सुनि भक्ता गणा रागा मार्गे भजे ये ना छाड़ी धर्मा कर्मा. Then, by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Braja, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all dharma and karma. So, how will devotees advance? By hearing hearing about Brajavasis, and that's how one will be. By hearing, one will develop a greed to serve the Lord in a particular way. So it all starts with Krishna Katha, hearing Krishna Katha, and that gives entrance to the path of spontaneous love. Here the use of word bhavet, this is Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami mentioning, which is the imperative mood, tells us that this certainly must be done. Non-compliance would be abandonment of duty. Means hearing Krishna Katha is supremely important. Mahaprabhu activities involves achar and prachar. Achar is he is practicing as a devotee, and prachar is he is spreading. And that's what we are supposed to do, because we are followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have to do achar and we have to do prachar. We have to go deep in our sadhana, and then we have to establish dharma. That's what Goswamis, we are followers of, what is that line? Okay, we have to follow the Goswamis. Anyway. So for that we have to know their activities. We have to read about them, and it's very nicely described by Srinivasacharya in Krishna Kirtana Gan Ratabhi in that Sat Goswami Ashtakam. There are 4 primary rasas: Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Shringar. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami does not consider Santaras as a rasa. He rejects that. So there are these 4 kinds of rasas. Bhakti Charu Maharaj says, devotee of Mahaprabhu enter into either Sakhya, Vatsalya or Shringar. Every devotee feels their sentiment as super excellent. They think there is nothing like that. See, Krishna, although we are completely insignificant, Krishna makes us feel that we are most important. That's how a devotee in spiritual world is ever satisfied. And everyone thinks my rasa is the best. Although, if we make a comparative study, our acharyas and Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami does give a distinction, but there you covered by Yoga Maya. You just think Krishna likes me the most, Krishna loves me the most, and this is I'm most favorite and dearest to Krishna. And how that happened, you have to go there and see. I don't know. But Example is given during Govardhan. Krishna was looking at everyone, and everyone was thinking Krishna is only with me. In Rasa Leela, Krishna expanded. Everybody's thinking Krishna is only with me. But those are specific. But you feel that all the time. Even a tree feels like that. It is said in spiritual world, trees can move. And once you go, the trees move to location where Krishna is going to come. They all hear. How they hear? Parrots. Parrots are the a representative of Vrinda Devi. And Vrinda Devi tells and parrots communicate. That's how there is there is no phone call and email. Probably let's meet in this address. Sisha Mataji is on to address 7 p.m. No. Parrots will come and tell you. Or you ask a parrot. We can't understand. Everything is natural. It's a village. It's a village setting. However, when seen impartially, Shringar Ras is sweeter in sweetness. Two divisions of Shringar Ras, Swakhya and Parakya, wedded and unwedded. Parakya is superior. It's found only in Braja. It reaches its limit in Srimati Radharani. And Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami describes some of the transcendental attributes of Srimati Radharani. He uses these words. Devi means resplendent and most beautiful. Krishna Mai, she sees Krishna wherever she glances. Radhika, her worship truly fulfills Krishna's desires. Paradevata, she is worshipable by all. Sarva Lakshmi, she is the original source of all Lakshmis. Sarva Kanti, all the Krishna's desire rest in her and are fulfilled by her. Some Mohini Para, Krishna enchants the world, but she enchants even him. You're good? I'll give you presentation. You don't need picture. There's also images. Okay. Then Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami gives some glimpse of Antya Leela. Radhikara Bhava Murti Prabhura Antara Sei Bhave Sukha Dukha Uthe Nirantara. The heart of Lord Chaitanya is the image of Shri Radhika's emotions. Thus, feeling pleasure and pain arise constantly therein. Means in the heart of Srimati Radharani, there is constant feeling of pleasure and pain. This is from Srila Prabhupada purports. Some of the purports I have included. One who engages in sense gratification on the material platform can hardly understand Radha Bhav, but one who is freed from the demands of sense gratification can understand it. Radha Bhav must be understood from the Goswamis who are actually controllers of the senses. In other words, one who engages in sense gratification cannot understand this mood of Lord Chaitanya and the mood of separation. Shesha Leelaya Prabhura Krishna Viraha Unmad. Unmad means mad. Brahmamaya Cheshta Ara Pralapamaya Vad. In the final portion of his pastimes, Lord Chaitanya was obsessed with the madness of separation from Lord Krishna. He acted in erroneous ways and talked deliriously. These are very intimate pastimes that comes in Antya Leela. Materialists, however, cannot understand this. Sometimes materialist scholars think he was diseased or crazy. Their problem is that they always engage in material sense gratification and can never understand the feeling of the devotees and the Lord. राधिकारा भावे यैछे उद्धवा दर्शने से भावे matta prabhu rahe ratri dine. Just as Radhika went mad at the sight of Uddhav, so Lord Chaitanya was obsessed day and night with the madness of separation. So you know Uddhav? Yes? You never heard of Uddhav? Uddhav was a cousin brother of Krishna. And when Krishna came to Mathura, Krishna immediately went to, after killing Kamsa, Krishna killed Kamsa third day after he went to Mathura. And then Krishna went to Ujjain and he stayed there for 2-3 months and he studied under Sandipani Muni. And then Krishna came back and Krishna requested Balaram, let us go to Vrindavan. And by that time, Devaki also came back and started living with Vasudev because she is originally the wife of Vasudev. So she was the only one other than Balaram who were there with Krishna in Vrindavan pastimes. And they both in Braja pastimes. And they both were very attracted to Braja. So Krishna requested Balaram and Rohini, let us go back to Braja. And Rohini Devi said this is not a good idea, because if we go back, then we cannot come here. We have already given so much pain to Vasudeva and Devaki, because um, um, you are their son and they are separated from you for over 10 years. And moreover, because now Kamsa is killed, Jarasandha and others will attack Mathura. And if you go away, there is no king. So who will take care of Mathura? So you have a lot of responsibilities. I think we should not go. But Krishna knew the state of Rajvasis, Mother Yashoda, Gopi, Shrimati Radharani, Gopas, how much separation they are feeling. So Krishna wrote many letters. One letter for each Gopi, many letters for Radharani, one for Mother Yashoda, one for Nanda Baba and one for Madhu Mangal, and he wrote many letters and he gave to Uddhav. And he said, other than Uddhav, there is nobody who can carry the message, because the Mathura Vasis did not really like so much Vrajvasis, because they had the feeling that they will take Krishna away from me. Plus, the mood of Raja and the mood of Mathura are different. But Uddhav is the only one who was in Mathura Ras. At the same time, he is in Vrindavan mood also. And we see that later on he became Gurmalata, a blade of grass in in uh, in Kusum Sarovar in Raja. So he knew very well the mood of Rajvasis also. So he was the only one who could go. So Krishna told them that you are my very dear brother. I love you the most. You are the only one. You do this greatest service for me, and you take this letter. And then he went. He went to Nandagaon, which is the eternal home of Krishna, and um, he was completely humbled after going to Raja. Uh, and he stayed in Vrindavan for 9 months. Every day Krishna is looking, Raha dekh rahe ki when will Uddhav come with the messages, what is the interaction. Uddhav stayed there and he pacified the Vrajvasis for 9 months to make them, and during that 9 months, Uddhav initially was thinking that his love for Krishna is so great, but when he saw the love of Rajvasis, he was humbled. And when the gopis and Radharani saw Uddhav, first they thought maybe this is Krishna, but then when they saw, because he looks like Krishna, but then they all, Radharani and she told Lalita and Vishakha, we are not interested in anybody who has any relation to Krishna. Let us go. And then Uddhav took out a letter and Uddhav read the letter that day and night I'm not able to sleep because uh, um, of my separation from you. And Radha and Lalita Vishaka, they heard it. So they sat down and they said, oh, all right, now this looks, Krishna is taking a humble position. Now read more. So Rupa Goswami wrote a book. It's called Uddhav Sandesh. The whole thick book is about how Uddhav pacified. And every day, morning till evening, they all would meet at Uddhav Kund. Uh, remember Uddhav Kund? They all would meet at Uddhav Kund, and Uddhav will read one after the other letters to them to pacify them from their separation from Krishna. So, just like Radhika went mad at the sight of Uddhav, so Lord Chaitanya was obsessed day and night with the madness of separation. Those under the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand that his mood of worship of the Supreme Lord Krishna in separation is the real worship of the Lord. When the feelings of separation becomes very intense, one attains the stage of meeting Sri Krishna. So when one comes to the stage of meeting Sri Krishna, when the mood of separation becomes intense. Mood of separation can become intense only at the stage of bhava and prema. It cannot become intense. Right now, if we want to feel the mood of separation, it will be artificial, because we are so satisfied in our lives. That's why we cannot have, until we come to that stage, the intensity of separation will not come. Just like we see that in Mahaprabhu. And somewhere I was reading, it is at that point of time when the feeling of separation from Krishna becomes so intense, um, that one finds it difficult to live. And when it becomes so rare, that time the devotee gives up his body and then joins in Krishna Leela, where Krishna is performing pastimes somewhere else in some other planet. And then he get a chance to personally associate with Krishna. But that state does not come of going back in our constitutional position until the separation is so intense that now Mahaprabhu mood of worship of uh, Krishna himself was so intense that it is incomparable still until the Ante Leela, until very deep pastimes Mahaprabhu never saw Krishna, just to signify that um, Krishna consciousness is a very serious business and हंसते खेलते भक्ति में आगे जा नहीं सकते unless there is sufficient amount of intensity and sufficient amount of dedication. Reaching Krishna is a dream, it will remain a dream only until we are fully dedicated, fully dedicated in serving Krishna, giving up whatever is required for the pleasure of Krishna. I mean, if we understand we are spirit, soul, and Krishna consciousness is eternal, we are going to make progress anyways, birth after birth. But if the goal is to go back to Krishna in this life, that requires um, serious dedication to reach that stage. क्योंकि कहाँ है हम लोग, वो stage क्या है? I talking to myself. रात्रे प्रलाप करे स्वरूपेरा कंठाधरी आवेशे आपना भावा कहे उघाड़ी. At night he talked incoherently in grief with his arms around Sarup Damodar's neck. He spoke out his heart in ecstatic inspiration. So Mahaprabhu would be so overwhelmed with his desire to be out of because of his separation that he would take Sarup Damodar was another sannyasi, and he is actually Lalita Sakhi. And Mahaprabhu is in Radha Bhava Dviti Suvalitam Krishna Nami Krishna Sarupam. So he is in the mood of Radharani. So he would catch the neck of Sarup Damodar and he will express his feeling of separation. Whenever a particular sentiment arose in his heart, Sarup Damodar satisfied him by singing song or reciting verses on the same nature. So always Sarup Damodar would try to pacify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that mood of separation. To analyze these pastimes is not necessary now. Later I shall describe them in detail. So Krishna has three ages. They are called Kaumara, Pauganda, and Keshor. Kaumara age is below 5, Pauganda is around 6 to 8, 9, and then later on is Keshor. Kishore age is Krishna. Now, Kaumar age, the prominent rasa is Vatsalya. Pauganda age, the prominent rasa is Sakhya in the middle ages. Because Krishna attraction for the gopis is not so much prevalent. He is mainly goes and he just plays. And then when he reaches around 9.5, 10 years age, just for 1.5 years age, Krishna displayed the Shringar Rasa. Around 10.5, he left. Before 11 years old, he left Vraja. So there are these three ages, but in Vraja, Krishna is always Kishore. Um, um, although Krishna left at 11.5, he was considered 16. And our acharyas explain that because Krishna is eternally 16 in Vraja, our acharyas explain that is because Mother Yashoda would feed him milk from Padmagandha cows. So he grew older before his age. So he was like 16 when he left, but he was actually only 10.5, 11-year old. Now, this is the first desire, which is Sri Radha Pranaya Mahima, and we discuss is to understand the greatness of Radharani's love. I am the full spiritual truth, and I am made of full joy, but the love of Srimati Radharani drives me mad. Who is telling this? Krishna is telling, yeah. But the love of Srimati Radharani drives me mad. I do not know the strength of Radha's love, with which she always overwhelms me. The love for Radhika is my teacher, and I am a dancing pupil. Her prema makes me dance various novel dances. Um, um, Krishna and Radharani has different mood. Um, um, Radharani's mood is um, crooked, crooked in a way that she feels intense love for Krishna, but when she is in front of Krishna, then uh, एक वर्ड है भाव खाना, आपने सुना भाव खाना, so she is like that, huh?
Show off that kind of thing.
That time she will not express her uh, she will take like um, her love is crooked in that way, and that really attacks Krishna. Krishna is always subservient, Krishna is always humble. um, and Krishna is like a dancing pupil. Her prema makes him dance various novel dances. And this is an interaction between Radharani and Vrinda. Vrinda Devi, who is personification of Tulsi Maharani. Radharani to Vrinda, oh my beloved friend Vrinda, where are you coming from? I am coming from the feet of Sri Hari. Where is he? In the forest of the bank of Radhakund. What is he doing there? He is learning dancing. Who is his master? Your image, Radha, revealing itself in every tree and creeper, in every direction, and is roaming like a skillful dancer, making him dance behind. So this again, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami describes, quoting from Govinda Lilamrita, the interaction between Radharani and Vrinda Devi, on this point that um, uh, Krishna is overwhelmed by her love, by the greatness of that love. Whatever pleasure I get from tasting my love for Srimati Radharani, she tastes 10 million times more than me by her love. There is certainly nothing greater than her love, but her love is devoid of pride, and that is the sign of its greatness. Um, um, when our service, love, uh, sadhana becomes imbued with pride, then before even realizing we lose it. But when we stay in the mood of Trinadapi Sunichena, then only we can always remain absorbed in Kirtaniya Sadahari. The moment Trinadapi Sunichena goes away, immediately we lose. And that's what make our love attracted to Krishna. So although the love of Srimati Radharani is the topmost, that it has no comparison, um, her love is devoid of pride, and that is the greatness of her love. Sometimes we hear that in Rasa Leela, Srimati Radharani became proud. You heard that before? Srimati Radharani, but actually she did not become proud. That was an external reason, just for a common man to understand. But she had another desire to be fulfilled. And so Srimati Radharani, her love is completely devoid of any sense of pride. Nothing is purer than her love, but its behavior is always perverse and crooked. This we discussed. Her love is always has another form. My mind races to taste the pleasure experienced by the abode, but I cannot taste it even by my best effort. How may I taste it? So this is the first reason. The appreciation of Radharani's love for Krishna, and Krishna is thinking that how can I taste that love? Her love, greatness of her love is, her love makes me crazy, overwhelmed, make me dance, make me like a puppet, 10 million times greater, and my mind is so eager and running behind that I want to take her position. So that's the first internal reason why Mahaprabhu came as Krishna. Everyone is with me? Are you all understanding? Okay. Are we going very fast, or we are able to understand? Huh? Okay, we are a little fast. Okay, okay. But the mood we are understanding, still we are able to follow. Okay. So this is the second reason. which is Madhya Adbhuta Madhurima. Adbhut Madhurima. Krishna wanted to taste his own sweetness. এই একা সোনা আর লোভেরা প্রকার স্বামাধুর্য দেখি কৃষ্ণা করে না বিচার. That is one advice. Now please hear of another. That is one desire. Now please hear of another. Seeing his own beauty, Lord Krishna began to consider. So there is little description about Krishna's beauty. My sweetness is wonderful. Now the word uses Adbhut, Ananta, Purna, Mora Madhurima. Means my sweetness is Adbhut, it is wonderful. Ananta, it is infinite. Purna, it is complete. No one in the three words can find its limit. Trijagate ihar keha nahi paya sima. There is no sima, there is no limit to the sweetness of Krishna. The beauty of Krishna has one natural strength. It thrills the heart of all men and women, beginning with Lord Krishna himself. Krishna Adi Nara Nari Karaye Chanchala. So what is the beauty of Krishna? चंचल मतलब आप परेशान हो जाओगे, आपका दिमाग स्थिर नहीं रहेगा. You cannot remain stable. So the beauty of Krishna is such that that his mind becomes perturbed. Just like when a young boy, young girl becomes attracted, they cannot maintain their state of mind in presence of each other. Likewise, when anybody sees Krishna, they lose their sense, and so Krishna has this. Now this is Vraja and Mathura. Krishna has this. Whoever see Krishna, they become mad. Any Gopa or Gopi, when they see Krishna, they become mad. So Radharani says, now Krishna has went to Mathura, and this is the nature of Krishna, that he entices everybody, and they are queens, and they are so well cultured. We are only village girls. So why will he come back to Vraja? Because anybody who sees it becomes mad. So now he has so many options. So why will he come to Vraja? So this, and then she asked Uddhav, does he ever remember us, who have given our chastity also for his pleasure? Does he even think of us? So that's the nature of Krishna's beauty. Krishna Adi Nara Nari Karaye Chanchala. Sab pagal ho jate hain. That is his nature. The Gopi said, this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, O Krishna, when you go to the forest during the day and we do not see your sweet face, which is surrounded by beautiful curling hairs. Krishna's hairs is curly. So that's why Sri Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha, we don't have any straight hairs. His hairs are curly. By beautiful curling hair, half a second becomes as long as the entire age for us. Yugaitam Nimeshena. And we consider the creator who has put eyelid on the eyes we use for seeing you to be गधा है वो. Now only gopis can say that. अगर आप बोलेंगे ना खत्म हो जाएंगे हम लोग. They are telling he is simply a fool. Why? What is the use of the eyes if we cannot see the beauty of Krishna? And he has given us eyelids. So when we are seeing Krishna, we have to, for half a moment. One moment is 1/6 of a second, or 1/10 of a second, something. And half a moment, we cannot see Krishna. And that seems to them like an age. Danvat pranam karo. Here we have no interest in Krishna. We will do somehow push ourselves, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Even while chanting the origin of Krishna, we are not attracted to Krishna. Here, half a moment of blink, they are thinking like an age has gone. कहाँ से कहाँ जाना है प्रभु, इसलिए दंडवत प्रणाम करो, बर्थ आफ्टर बर्थ चलते रहो, तभी there is some hope. This is the woman of Mathura. Wherever Krishna went, everybody became chanchal. So that's his beauty. What austerities Mother Gopis have performed. With their eyes, they always drink the nectar of the form of Lord Krishna, which is the essence of loveliness. He is ever fresh and extremely rare. See, when we are very dull, no excitement. And when we see the beauty of Krishna, we immediately becomes like ever face, because that is his effulgence is like that. You just cannot get him out of your consciousness. देखो, what is the name? What is the meaning of Krishna? All attractive. We have no idea what all attractive means. We have just some theoretical understanding. Yeah, Krishna is attractive. How attractive? Maybe like him, maybe like her, maybe like this. But we have no understanding of Krishna's attractiveness. But this gives a hint. अरे क्या सोच भी नहीं सकते हम लोग. All minds are attracted by hearing his sweet voice and flute, or by seeing his beauty. Even Lord Krishna himself makes effort to taste that sweetness. This is one particular pastime where Krishna was, he went to Hastinapur, and he looked himself in the shiny marble and he saw his beauty. You are thinking, wow. And he just can't stop looking at himself. So when anybody hears the sweet voice and flute, their mind becomes attracted. And gopis are very envious of Krishna's flute. There is an entire chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, the flute of Krishna. Have you read that chapter?
Yeah.
The song of Krishna's flute. The gopis are always, they are so envious of the flute, they are always thinking, this guy, he didn't do anything, and he is always at the lips of Krishna. And they always try to steal Krishna's flute, so that they will throw the flute in Yamuna. And Krishna is very particular that he uses flute always safe. The moment he sees flute is missing, वो हाहाकार मचा देते हैं. So there is a constant stifle between, and Krishna has many flutes, but anybody who hears the sweet song, the Krishna's voice or Krishna's flute, you heard the description of how cows behave, how gopas behave when Krishna plays his flute. So they become like, I mean, see, we cannot imagine though. Think about it. If somebody calls us, and if we are dressing or feeding our children or doing something, अच्छा आ रहे हैं. But when Krishna plays flute, they loses, दिमाग खराब हो जाता है उन लोगों का. They loses all sense of any such thing. The ladies don't know what they are dressing, what thing they are putting there. Some of them have one kajal eye, another kajal no eye, and they just, I mean, we cannot understand with our intellect. We can understand only once we are there. Prabhupada said it takes one to know one. The attractiveness of Krishna's flute and the sound of Krishna's, the sweetness of Krishna's voice, and seeing his beauty, even Lord Krishna himself makes effort to taste that sweetness. Only Radhika, by the strength of her love, tastes all the nectar of my sweetness. If I deliberate on the way to taste it, I find that I hanker for the position of Radhika. Only she can taste it in full. So I am so eager. My mind races, runs after how can I taste that sweetness. So this is the second reason. What was the first reason? Huh?
To feel the love of Radha.
Yeah. Greatness of Radharani's love. And second is to taste his own sweetness, his own madhurima. Okay. And then the third reason is to taste Radha's happiness. Saukham chasya mad anubhavata. This is all expansion of the verse that we discussed last week. What was that? Radha Prana Mahima Vikritit Haladini Shakti Ashma. You remember that verse? Three reasons. So first line, second line, third line are three internal reasons. Second is Madhurima, the sweetness. First is Radha Pranaya Mahima, the greatness of her love. And third is this Saukhyam, the pleasure that the gopis and Radharani feels. The gopis taste a pleasure 10 million times greater than the pleasure Lord Krishna derives from seeing them. Krishna derives some pleasure by seeing them, which we cannot understand, and gopis derive millions, 10 million times more pleasure by seeing Krishna. The gopis have no inclination for their own enjoyment, and yet their joy increases. That is indeed a contradiction. And you may have heard the joy of gopis is constantly increasing. The beauty of gopis is constantly increasing. When Krishna looks at them and Krishna feels pleasure, then they become so full within themselves that their body becomes full and their beauty increases. When Krishna sees that his beauty increases and his joy and his charm increases, when they see that, they further increases, and there is no limit. You all have heard that. And likewise, the happiness that they both experience keeps on increasing. In material world, a person becomes bored with the beauty, especially if you see one person again and again, you have no attachment for that person. But that is not there in spiritual world. In spiritual world, because Krishna's beauty, sweetness, and everything, joy is increasing, there is no question कि अरे रोज देखेंगे इनको तो बोर हो जाएंगे फिर. No, there is no such question. Krishna becomes more and more fresh, more and more youthful, more and more beautiful. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the foremost. She surpasses all in beauty, in good qualities, in good fortune, and above all in love. So, among all the gopis, the foremost is Srimati Radharani, and she is better in everything, whatever. Um, um, no other gopi gives pleasure to Krishna. Radha is the beloved consort of Krishna, and she is the wealth of his life. Without her, the gopis cannot give him pleasure. Clear? No gopi can give any pleasure to Krishna other than that's it. That's why Radharani is called Aladini Shakti, the pleasure potency of Krishna. And Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami cite the example of Ras Leela when Radharani left. And what did Krishna do? Krishna found no happiness amidst millions of gopis. He found no happiness and he also left. So, whatever rasa we are in, whether it is Sakhya ras, Vasalya ras, or Shringar ras, especially devotees in Shringar ras, they cannot give any pleasure to Krishna. They can give pleasure to Krishna as long as they assist Radharani in her love for Krishna. That's why it is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita that we are either followers of Srimati Radharani or Balaram, Nityananda Prabhu, because we are either in Sakhyaras or in Madhuryaras. So one of them we are learning, but we are always assisting them. No, now this is an intimate point, but just because we are followers of Gaudiya, nobody in Shringharas has any physical relationship with Krishna. Nobody. Any physical relationship. Only Radharani and her associates, they have physical relationship. Our relationship in even in Shringharas is just to assist her. Just to assist. If you see, none of our sampradaya is a gopi. They are all manjaris. Manjaris, like uh, uh, small young girls. Like your daughters, the small daughters like Jia, yeah, they just assist. They have no relationship. So the meditation that I can have a physical relationship with Krishna, we should not encourage that because that is not possible. And that is not the mood of our parampara also. That thought can come only when we have a desire to enjoy ourselves. That takes us immediately out of Vrajaras. Vrajaras, the gopis have no other desire other than giving Krishna pleasure. So they have no desire to enjoy Krishna. Their only desire is to serve Krishna. Otherwise, how can they give the dust to their feet and suffer in hell? If there is a desire to enjoy, then they are like, आप लोग उनसे dust ले लो, थोड़ा, I want, this is good, nice, I'm happy here. Gopis have no such desire. Okay, so no other gopi give pleasure to Krishna. Other gopis only assist. All the other gopis help increase the joy of Krishna's pastime with Radharani. The gopis act as an instrument of their mutual enjoyment. Like if you see Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he's Kamala Manjari. His service is to make camphor for Radha Krishna. आप सोचोगे कैंपर बनाने के लिए इतना मेहनत करना है क्या? यही कैंपर बनाएंगे, राधा गोपी जयवल्लभ को देंगे और अपना एंजॉय करेंगे, वहां जाके यार कैंपर बनाएंगे. So they all have little service, yet they are fully engaged, and their happiness comes from they all have their own things. They are fully engaged. Now, how they are engaged? दंडवत प्रणाम, मेरे को नहीं पता. But they find their pleasure there. So whatever rasa, we become pure when our desire is only to serve. When we develop a desire now, when that is the desire, your happiness you derive will be 10 million times greater than what the happiness Krishna derives. Now this is inconceivable. This is inconceivable. Somewhere I heard, now this is, uh, these are um, um, too wild. Um, you enjoy if you have no desire uh, to enjoy, you experience the same pleasure Radharani experiences. Her pleasure to Krishna, all those who are serving her get the same pleasure. So अभी हमारा material conception ऐसा है ना कि only when I am there and I have a relationship can I enjoy, otherwise I cannot enjoy. So that conception is material. Spiritual conception is different. There everybody enjoys, but they have no desire to enjoy. Then only everybody enjoys. If you have desire to enjoy, then वैकुंठा जा सकते हैं, कहीं से ब्रज में नहीं जा सकते. ब्रज मतलब राधा दास्य. I am only a servant. And until we cultivate that mood, servant of servant without any, that's the meaning of Mahamantra. What is the meaning of Mahamantra? Engage me in your service. In Braja. Seva adhikaro diye koro nija dasi. Give me seva there. And then what do we pray? Vrindavan Vasi. What is that line? Second line. जे तुम्हारा शरण लो तारा वांछा पूर्णा हो कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावन वासी. Whoever gets your kripa gets Vraja. That's why it is so important to worship Tulsi. To worship Tulsi. I was telling to Sudhir Prabhu, it's so important to worship Tulsi. And it's not just enough to worship Tulsi just by offering water and taking the leaves and offering to Krishna's feet. It's something, grow that mood that the Tulsi prayer is giving us. Sakhi Anugata Koro. Sakhi Anugata means following the Sakhis of Raja. That's Raganuga Bhakti. Sakhi Anu means to follow. What is that line? And before that? Okay, don't. But read it. It's not coming to my mind, although I read every day still. This is Kali Yuga memory. Okay. So other gopis only assist in their service to Radha and Krishna. All these conclusions are unfit to disclose in public. Now we are coming towards the end of today's discussion. Are unfit to disclose in public, but if they are not disclosed, no one will understand them. Although my beauty defeats the beauty of 10 million cupids, although it is unequaled and unsurpassed, and although it gives pleasure to the three worlds, seeing Radharani gives pleasure to my eyes. Now, Krishna is explaining what he feels towards Radharani and what Radharani feels towards him. So, although he gives pleasure to everyone, when he gets the sight of her, he becomes unstable. Anybody who sees him, they become chanchal. When he sees her, he becomes chanchal. You know the pastime where he was lifting, and by chance he looked at her, and Govardhan started to shake. He loses. So that's her position rather than his greatness. The vibration of my transcendental flute attracts the three words, but my ears are enchanted by the sweet words of Srimati Radharani. Um, Although my body lends fragrance to the entire creation, the scent of Radharani's limbs captivates my mind and heart. When they have the natural fragrance. It is said that when Krishna came on this planet, when he stepped on the earth, Mother Earth took all the fragrance from Krishna and it manifested in rose fragrance, lily fragrance, aguru fragrance, sandalwood fragrance. They all come from the lotus feet of Krishna. The source of all fragrance is Krishna. And Krishna's fragrance is very, very sweet. But when Krishna smells the fragrance of the limbs of Radharani, then his mind becomes unstable. So just about how much is Radharani capturing Krishna's mind? Because she is her Haladini Shakti. Thus, although I am the source of happiness for the entire world, the beauty and attributes of Sri Radhika are my life and soul. My eyes are fully satiated when I look upon Srimati Radharani, but by looking upon me, she becomes even more advanced in satisfaction. So that's just not Krishna's feeling toward her. Her feeling toward Krishna is way higher, and that's what raises his mind to capture the position of Srimati Radharani. The flute-like murmur of the bamboos rubbing against one another steals Radharani's consciousness, for she thinks it to be the sound of my flute, and she embraces the tumultuary, mistaking it to be me. So when just by the wind some bamboo stick, she thinks this is Krishna's flute, and she immediately becomes mad, thinking this tree is Krishna. When a favorable breeze carries to her the fragrance of my body, she is blinded by love and tries to fly in that breeze. When she tastes the beetle chewed by me, she merges in the ocean of joy and forgets everything else. I mean, we also taste Mahaprasad of Radha Govind Vallabha. We just think, okay, which one is better? Let me take this. But when she chews the Mahaprasad of Krishna, um, she merges in the ocean of joy and forgets everything else. Um, when you have lot of love and respect for somebody, just like for example spiritual master, when his Mahaprasadam comes, you take a lot of reverence. Have you experienced it? But when Krishna Mahaprasadam, so because uh, we are we have no um, loving affection for him. We have not yet considered him as a person as standing there, and this is his remnants. We lack that faith. Although we superimpose, our faith is only intellectual. The real faith grows with the grow in devotion. As we grow in bhakti, our faith in Krishna will increase. Till that time, we may say everything, but we are completely acting on an intellect level. But when there is a heart to heart connection, like a spiritual master, then we see the person there. We can relate to it, but we cannot relate to Krishna. That's why Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, till the stage of anarthanivritti nishtha, there is only relationship with the holy name. There is almost no relationship with Krishna. There is only intellectual level relationship with Krishna. But at the level of ashakti, you become attracted to Krishna. Then Krishna starts compelling you, and then it further grows to the stage of bhava. Even with hundreds of mouths, I could not express the transcendental pleasure she derives from my association. I am always eager to taste the joy that Radharani derives from me. In spite of various efforts, I have not been able to taste it, but my desire to relish that pleasure increases as I smell its sweetness. Formerly, I appeared in the world to taste mellows. I tasted the mellows of pure love in various ways, but these desires of mine were not satisfied. What are those mellows? Santaras, Dasaras, Sakyaras, Madhuryaras. I came to taste that. I tasted them. I tasted them. Um, but these desires of mine were not satisfied. These three desires. I could not, because you have to be in that position to Radharani's love. You have to be in a state of Radharani, or his own sweetness, or the happiness she feels. These three reasons, you have to be in that position to be able to taste that. Unless I accept the luster of the ecstatic love of Sri Radhika, these desires cannot be fulfilled. Therefore, assuming Radharani's sentiment and bodily conception, I shall descend to fulfill these desires. And Krishna makes a resolution that now I want to descend in the mood of Radharani. In this way, Lord Krishna came to the decision. Simultaneously, the time came for the incarnation for the age. At that time, Advaita Acharya was earnestly worshipping him. Advaita attracted him with his loud calls. First, Lord Krishna made his parents and elders appear. Then, Krishna himself, with the sentiment and complexion of Radhika, appeared in Navadvip like the full moon from the womb of Mother Sachi, which is like an ocean of pure milk, and that is Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Padayara asked Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahi Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishnadas narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Hari. So we covered. There were a lot of slides. Uh, uh, does anyone has any question on Zoom? Okay, so I'm ending the Zoom call. Dandrat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.